And that is still one of the greatest. The way that cage match ended.
Wait a minute. I have to no longer smile because you're talking about TNA.
Okay, but it's Bully Ray.
Yeah, this is the good stuff.
This is good.
As far as I know, Bubba Ray left WWE,
and
then suddenly he showed up as Bully Ray with a podcast. There's nothing in between.
You bring the ROH stuff too?
Yeah, that can go too.
And like, what happened? New Japan just didn't exist.
It all gets sucked into a vortex of crap that was aces and eights.
I'll say TNA. The good stuff from TNA, for me at least, was any King of the Mountain match, aces and eights, and the main event Mafia.
I will say any good TNA
was Trick Stratus.
I'll get back to you. That Jeff Hardy Sting match, probably the best thing I ever saw in TNA.
No.
A wash match. That was backstage politics, I'm telling you what. Sting's the greatest heel in wrestling history.
Said no one ever.
Hey, it's Big Papa Grump, Board of Doom. Here's CJTruth. Where is he? There he is. There's Junior. And so yeah, I guess we can hop right into it. We've got why is it that every time
Damien Sandow, and I refuse to believe anything else.
What?
I said Damien Sandow and nobody else even touches him.
Why is it okay?
I just
whenever I want to, like, I'm like, okay, we're gonna start off, we're gonna talk about what happened in WWE this week. And nothing happened in WWE this week. Well, apparently, if you tie up Butch, he's gonna gnaw through whatever you use to tie it. He's gonna disappear anyways. He's a slippery rascal.
Well, no. I mean, there was some stuff that happened. I mean, they're doing a good job of letting this Cody thing build, which I'm happy about. They're handling it very well. And I don't know how much of it's him or if it's like across the board, but they're doing a great job with it. And the whole, Seth, don't do that again. And then Cody just looks at him like, what? Okay, watch this. I thought it was good. I thought the segment was good. The Ezekiel stuff, I'm digging it. I think it's funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
Who wants to speak with Zeke? Yeah,
KO. I'm enjoying him right now too.
That match though was good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to see, like, there's some good stuff going on. I think they're teasing a Prophet's heel turn.
I mean,
kind of thing.
They have been for a while.
Yeah, but I'm still questioning what that really is. I mean, I'm not going to be against it, just as long as it's not going to lead to an eventual split. Because I think Angelo Dawkins will become the Ivar of the Tucker of
Tucker. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like, that's what's going to happen to him.
I know
he's going to the mix, and he's going to completely fall off the map. He's going to be released, and I think he's too good to have that happen right now.
I'm scared that's what's going to happen to Wesley in a minute.
Yeah, that was kind of rough last night too.
See, I missed most of NXT.
Well, he botched a spot.
Okay.
It was kind of like, it looked like the rope either he was expecting more spring off the rope, or he put slip on the rope, but he did recover. You could tell it was kind of like it was sloppy. But I mean, NXT's doing a pretty good job of doing their storylines. That Wendy Chu thing versus with JC James match, that was pretty fun.
First of all, I don't care what they call her. For now, she's still Roxy. I do like the fact that I don't like the fact that she beat JC Jane in her first match, because again, it's WWE kind of still, like, your champs are gonna just randomly lose dumb matches. They've been doing it forever. But at the same time, I like the fact that they let her win her debut because it kind of they're starting the momentum, like, ball going just at the top of the hill to start rolling down. So that's kind of
But this is the same thing they do with every champ. Look what happened with Balor. He lost every single match that even the next defense. Like,
well, I'm trying to think, because they had just examples. They had Cross lose on Raw as NXT champ. How many times did Roddy lose a random non-title encounter? And who? I'm trying to think who else it was. I think really,
Cole did.
Yeah. I think
when he was North American champ.
Io Shirai, I think, was like the only one of their singles champs that really never lost while she was champ. Yeah. I'm not saying never, ever, ever, but I mean, because every once in a while it's going to happen, especially if it's a baby face, because they got to have some sort of adversity or some sort of redemption story, even if it's minor. But
I'm just glad to see that, like transitioning to SmackDown. I'm glad to see that they're giving male Asuka something to do.
Yeah, but then he didn't even show up this last week.
Well, I mean, neither did Roman.
No, right. Well, right, but I don't want.
I look at it, at least they're, because people can say what they want to say. Knack is getting old, and we all know it. Mm. And he's been around long enough, but it's good that they were like, okay, that was a really unfortunate injury that shouldn't have happened, but did. So we're at least going to keep you relevant, because they could have very easily just been like, 24/7 title.
See you in 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hold on, guys. Hate to interrupt, but we're about to have a world premiere.
A world premiere.
Maybe.
Oh, there he is. What the heck? Look at that hair.
Yo, good evening, guys.
What's up with the hair, bro?
Ah, man, you know what I mean? Put it down for that, man. Put it down. What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
So welcome to our the Board of Doom shit show.
Yeah.
So we'll I'll turn the floor over a little bit, let you guys roll for a minute. We're just in the middle of bitching about Raw, so we can pause that for a minute and introductions and all that. But I'm gonna let you guys take it. Well, I mean, you can start, Corey. You can introduce them.
All right. Well, so this is the member that I brought to the board for the vote. We all voted for yes, and this is HouseShow, aka Christian.
What's up, guys?
Wrestling fan. He's a New York boy, tape collector, all that stuff, old school stuff. He's going to be able to compete with you and Shez on a lot of old school stuff. So he sent me pictures of his collection. He's got a legit collection.
All right.
But he's still never going to take this. This isn't going anywhere. Nowhere.
I got you, man. I got you. I'm coming for that, man.
Everybody wants it right now.
That's right. Well, yeah, I've been a fan for a minute. I'll show you a couple of things. I'm at my parents' house picking up my kids real quick. I'll show you something. This is right here. One time I cut high school, Christopher Columbus High School, to go see Hulk Hogan. He was doing a signing at Toys R Us at Times Square. So there's a good autograph there from there. That was good memories. That was cool to go see. Even though the Hulkster ain't nothing right now, but it's all good. That was good. I was a Hulkamaniac before. And up here is my whole little collection of all the different DVDs and all the different old school joints I got here. This thing got WrestleFest over here, 90, whatever that is, old school right there. We got a big one over here, man. So I'm a big fan, and I'm happy to join you guys, man. So thank you so much for letting me join you guys.
All right. Okay, so we'll pick up kind of where we were, which was we were complaining about how WWE always has their champs lose in random events, because because so we had the title change. We might as well just get to it, which was they took the belt off Balor and gave it to Theory, which I'm good with, except as a Balor mark, I hate the fact that he lost like 4 out of 5 random matches leading up to that title defense, and then they just put it. And I realize Balor's job now is to put talent over. I get that,
right?
But and because Junior's the one that always points this out to me. How can you actually expect someone? Because it was a problem they had with Ziggler for a long time, which was if he's going to lose all the time, he's not really putting anybody over whenever they beat him, because it's almost like like the Brooklyn Brawler, or Dave Lombardo or something.
Horowitz, Barry Horowitz.
Yeah, Barry Horowitz. Yeah, with the
when he got that one win, boy, it was the biggest win of his career.
So
that was always my thing. It's like, all right, cool. You look at it, it's like, oh yeah, so Ziggler's here to put you over. But if every single NXT call, well, this was the trend for a while, but if every single NXT call up that feuds with Ziggler wins 3 matches in a row, oh cool. So as soon as he feuds with somebody, I know that they're gonna win. That doesn't really give me credibility because I just followed the pattern.
But it's bad that they're already putting Balor in as being a put guys over. Because AJ proved his worth, but I think Balor, because of that injury, that's what caused it. That's where
he never trusted him again.
Yeah. And that's not even that wasn't his fault. That wasn't Seth's fault. That was just a bad landing.
Yeah.
And then you punish the guy because of a bad landing. And because he could go with AJ. Hell, that match that they had that nobody expected him to have tore down the freaking house.
Oh, yeah, TLC.
It was the best match of the night when those two went at it.
Thank God we didn't get Sister Abigail Bray. I'm sorry, I did not want to see that whatsoever.
Yeah, I wasn't looking forward to Bray and drag. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
But I think right now
wrong with that.
I think they're building up their future talent because they know they got a couple more years with a couple guys, and then they got already. It's the cycle. It's always the cycle. They did it.
If I had one thing that kind of gets me a little frustrated with especially with just what happened with there is that they just rush things so fast because like Austin Theory, that situation, they could have really just kept on working with them and build momentum. And then same thing with Balor. I would have had no problem with Balor losing the belt to Austin Theory, but just further down the line, I don't know, maybe something down like in, the summertime or something, and makes Balor still look okay and validifies, the win for Austin Theory. I mean, I think it's cool he won the belt and all that, but I just feel like it's just too fast. You know what I'm saying? Just too fast.
It was barely a feud.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was barely a feud. It was just like a surprise title win, like nothing. You know what I mean? And
it would further the story if Theory lost some and disappointed Vince. So he had to re-earn because that's Vince's golden boy now. Show his weakness, have him lose to vets.
We don't like the term golden boy.
Oh my bad. Sorry. Future
Platinum child.
The next big thing there, Steel Box. I don't know, but you get the idea.
Yes. But no, and I think the other part of the problem is that you had him lose to McAfee, who's not a he's an incredible athlete. We discussed that before. But how the hell do you have him come in and beat legit one of your top guys that you don't let be a top guy, but he's a top guy? All the fans know that he's a top guy. We all know what he's capable of. We've been watching him for years. I mean, his KO matches in NXT. That's the other part. Why didn't you just let him down in NXT? I'd have been way happier with Balor down in NXT.
Because that's tough. What do you do now with Balor now? So he just lost. He tries to get a rematch. Yeah. He loses again, and then that's it.
He's going to Mojo Rawley. He's going to start chasing for the 24/7 title because they're going to have nothing else to do.
And that's a shame because he's a phenomenal talent. He's a phenomenal wrestler. He's great. I think I would have no problem with him losing to Austin Theory down the line. I think if Austin Theory was building momentum, like you said, he just lost to McAfee. And you guys just said it, like he should be like in trouble essentially if we're going to keep to the storyline with McMahon, right? He has to prove himself. I think that would have been the right way to go about it. You know what I mean? But the ratings is a big deal with Raw, you know?
Thank you, Kevin Dunn.
I know.
Everything wrong is Kevin Dunn's fault.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, it's always Kevin Dunn's fault. I guess real quick, moving on to because all right, did anybody have anything else they wanted to bring up from Raw, SmackDown, or NXT?
I think tag team unification is a good idea because the tag teams division in WWE is weak, but I don't like unifying anything. You need separate belts if you're gonna have brand split. I think it's gonna be the death of the brand split because I'm sure they're gonna do away with that.
Yeah, but if they do that, you're gonna end up having so much talent, but you can't give anybody any air time.
Yeah, unless they title at some point.
Yeah, I think it's a dumb idea right now. I really got too many guys.
Yeah, because I don't look at WWE's tag division as weak. I look at it as thin.
Right. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah. I just wanted to make the distinction.
Yeah. My bad. It's just they don't care about it, so it looks
Right.
worse than it is.
I was gonna say
the RK Bro and the Usos. Those are the only two they care about.
Yeah. Right. But you have talent in Alpha Academy. You have talent in Street Profits. You have talent in. I lost them. I think that's all the tag teams.
Yeah, that's it. There's nobody left. Well, the Viking Raiders, they both lost. Who'd they lose to? Was it Omos?
Yeah,
that's my point though. This is the same thing that they've done. When you have established tag teams, you flush them down the toilet. Like it or not. And some people hated them. It is what it is. But the Good Brothers get a BS title reign, and then you never see them again. They're nothing more than a comedy act. Really?
And there's talks that they want to bring FTR back. I wouldn't join them.
I would do it. If I'm I'd stay away. I'd stay as far away as possible.
Stay away, but to the point, I had a conversation with a friend of mine. Let Vince McMahon show him that easy $5-6 million they're gonna be. You think they'll be part of that? Come on, man.
But their biggest gripe when they left was, it's not about the money. We're doing it because we love professional wrestling. We want to be acknowledged as one of the greatest of all time. That's why
they're coming out. They're coming out with the GOAT, and they're going to like an Indian show, and they have Bret Hart's going to join them.
Right.
I don't know if y'all saw that.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you want to switch over to AEW? Because
FTR is a good transition. Hey, everybody seems to dislike Ty Conti as much as we do now, huh?
So,
first of all, I don't dislike Ty Conti at all.
Oh,
it's
no,
just
neither
that,
do I.
It's just that, I had a feeling that they were going to do this because her and Sammy were being obnoxious on camera. I'm like, oh, that's a heel turn coming.
I completely this is jumping back. I completely forgot why I was enjoying commentary on Raw because there was no Corey Graves face in Carmella. And I actually liked it. I forgot he was on his honeymoon. I was like, wow, Raw commentary is not pissing me off. Sorry, back to AEW. It was just kind of related.
Yeah, although I do love the fact that somehow Men of the Year are now baby faces.
But they're not.
I know, but don't tell the crowd that.
No.
I think Ethan Page got the biggest pop of the night.
It's the same thing that happened with Adam Cole and stuff. Cole's a heel, but he's cheered.
But look at Lambert. Lambert got a pop. And not only, and the whole part was, the thing that made me laugh was the look he gave to both of them when he got the pop. He was like, I don't know what to do now. So I'm going to be heel. I'm going to be heel right now. And the fans are still like, yeah, you're the man, Dan.
But credit to Sammy and Ty Conti for leaning it like that. That could have tried to skid out of control, like what happened with Cody,
Right.
and they just turned into the skid. And credit.
Oh yeah, no, and listen, Sammy's one of those guys. I think out of the quote unquote 4 pillars that they have, I think that Sammy by far is the best one to jump back and forth. He has the most natural charisma out of all. Like MJF, he's never going to be a face ever.
Yeah,
and if he is, it's like I think we would all fall over because you don't get it. The only time he's a face is when he goes to Long Island.
And on the flip side of that, I don't think Darby Allin ever turns heel.
No, I don't think he can ever switch Darby heel. And then who do you have left? Jungle Boy? Jungle Boy's a poster boy. He ain't gonna ever go heel. I mean, if he goes heel, the only person I can see him going heel on is Christian, and that's because he gets tired of Christian.
And I kind of agree with Russell talk. I think Christian's going to turn on him. I think he's going to be the one going heel. I mean, that's not much of a stretch.
No, because and Christian can do that. Christian's one of the guys that can literally. I mean, as much as people don't like to talk about it, it does exist. Impact, when Christian was the champ, when he was with Tomko, he was a great heel. But then when Tomko ended up going to New Japan, Christian's by himself, and he's just the straight up Captain Charisma, all that stuff. It was like a seamless move. And it's Sammy out of all of them. He's the only one that's got that ability. You want to say hi? No. I told him you got your shirt.
That's right. I was just wondering. It's like, well, there's dead air. I'm going to have to edit.
I don't have anything to add. Yeah.
I will say this: of the 4 pillars that they have, MJF has to be the next one to win the title. He has to.
I don't see Darby. We're just going to talk about the 4 pillars. I don't see Darby Allin necessarily, at least at this point. Like, I can't envision him with the AEW title.
No.
Not now. I mean, eventually, yes.
I don't know. Honestly, I mean, I've seen stupider finishers. No, never mind. No, I haven't.
Wait.
I watched the Cobra.
No.
I was going to say the Cobra was the most protected move in WWE for how long?
Yeah, I know, right?
It almost won him a World Heavyweight Championship in the Elimination Chamber.
But seriously, like Jungle Boy, I could see maybe, but of the 4 pillars, I think your odds of seeing actually wearing the AEW title would be MJF and Sammy. And I completely agree. MJF's going to be the first one that does it, if not the only one that eventually does it.
Actually, I see Sammy as just a TNT guy, like a TNT title.
Oh no, I can see them. I see them making a push. It really.
He's gonna have more TNT titles than Ric Flair has actual championships.
Get him as
like
24.
27 that they don't count, but yeah, those all of them.
Yeah.
I think it's what 28.
I look at it this way: like I can see Darby eventually because they know what they have with Darby. They have a Sting-esque, they have a Jeff Hardy-esque, and
good to
a
see
lot of
he's
people don't want to admit Jeff Hardy's his TNA title run. I don't even count it because if I was Steve Borden, I'd have done the same damn thing. I'd have pinned him and looked at him and said, "You fix yourself. There's something."
Get help. Yeah, go get help.
Right. But I mean, when he was clean and he had his championship runs, Jeff Hardy was a good champ.
I mean, even in 2008, when like he was WWE champ for like a minute because Triple H is a dick, and he still was good.
Yeah. I mean, I could see Darby sometime holding the title, but I mean, I think the 4 pillars are, they know what they have there.
I have a fear that he would be a transitional champ. Unfortunately, they don't do that often, but
who is that? Did you think would be a transitional champ?
Darby. If they give him the AEW.
Yeah. Me personally, I would love to see, MJF win the belt some way somehow from CM Punk. That'd be pretty cool to see. I don't know, like that'd be pretty. I would like to see that.
And then
that might be the plan. If they're pushing Punk, maybe if Punk takes it off of Hangman.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
I would like.
Symphony, everybody. Just because I want to see a Powerbomb Symphony.
Yeah, and that's the other one that we're kind of missing, because honestly, Wardlow gets left out when they talk about the pillars for obvious reasons. And
Right.
I understand he's not a pillar, but he's one of those ones that's like just outside of that. Like, because he's super over, he's really good, and he's a big guy, and especially if you're gonna turn him heel again. Can you imagine, like, if things stay on their current trajectory, and let's say Wardlow turns heel, like later, like down the line, like Darby Allin beating Wardlow for the title or something like that?
So kind of like a Miro type thing, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I really miss my Miro.
He's at Coachella. Leave him alone.
He's all over Instagram.
Yeah, he's busy at Coachella.
Yeah.
I say that, but I miss Miro. Like, I was actually sitting there when they brought out the Blackpool Combat Club, or wait, what do you call it? Liverpool Fight Club? What is it?
The Boston Beat 'em Up Boys. I don't know.
Yeah. I was like, I would love nothing more than to see Miro end up joining them. Like, I just think that would be fun.
That'd be a good.
He doesn't play well with others, so that it might be perfect. Because he
But-
could be their Butch. He could just like randomly just go beat people up, and then they have to tie him up, and then they find him like somewhere else, still not wearing shoes. So I'm gonna do it. Hold on.
Oh my god.
So we're gonna have another little fireside chat with me. When Big Papa Grump was little kid Grump, I don't know, whatever the equivalent is. I started watching wrestling. This was in the days of, Hulkamania and Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA. And I found that two of my favorites when I was wee little Papa Grump was the Macho Man Randy Savage and Nikita Koloff. And already mixed with the fact that as also little kid nerd Grump, my favorite character ever was Darth Vader. So I found myself gravitating towards bad guys. And in wrestling, it was no different. Your guys like, you're drawn to the guys like Razor Ramon because they were allowed to do more and they got to shine through. And of course, you can't not mention that era of heels without talking about guys like Flair, Blanchard, anybody named Anderson. I'll even take Ken at this point. But so okay, we could by the way, if anybody remembers, Little Doom drew this for me. Okay, so if anybody remembers, it was last season. But yeah, so the idea is we're going to talk about heels. And it's kind of a shame because we really wanted I really wanted Big Shez in on this because when he kind of he didn't introduce me to wrestling, he introduced me to NWA. Mm-hmm. Because actually both musically and wrestlingly, but they because I watched the first time I ever actually sat down and watched wrestling was WrestleMania 1. So everything was very WWE centric. WWF was all over the television. Hulk Hogan had a cartoon, had ice cream bars, the whole shebang, and he was like, no, you get TBS, right? I'm like, dude, we have this, we have, there's only like 20 cable channels. We have the same ones. So, and it's like, yeah, he's like, all right, 605. And I'm like, what? He's like, no, 605. on Saturday night, you got to turn on and watch World Championship Wrestling, which was just the name of the show at the time. And that's where I got to see Ivan Koloff for the first time, Ric Flair for the first time, the Midnight Express, Jim Cornette, you know, all those guys. So I've already stolen most of my thunder. Huh?
Rock and roll.
They were faces.
No, I know. I'm saying that's when you got them.
Yeah. Okay, I thought you thought they were heels. I was like, I've never seen them be heel except after retirement. They're just heels to each other. But yeah, so the topic is who are the best heels? And there's really no format I'm going for this. Like, you know, if you want to just start talking about heels, we can talk about guys historically. We can talk about guys going in the future. We can talk about guys now, you know.
There's two people that are missing from this today, and I can tell you their answers. I bet you Big Sean's was Ric Flair, and I bet you any money that Golden Boys is Charlotte. I'm telling you, he would have talked about Charlotte for like 45 minutes if you let him.
No, he would say the greatest heel of all time would be CM Punk because, you know, he's a quitter and he turned his back on the industry and blah, blah, blah. And we'd have to listen to this whole rigmarole. But if you're talking, like, see, when I was introduced to wrestling, we're talking early 80s, 83, 84, 85. Some of my first memories are watching wrestling. And I watched the WWF Superstars cartoon, right? So we had arguably still to this day, one of my favorite laughs of all time, $1 Million Man. When I was a kid, the $1 Million Man was like the heel. That was the guy to me, only because of what he made people do. Like, I'm so rich, I'll make you do things that belittle you, right? And I always liked Vincent. I always thought Vincent was a cool guy. I don't know why. Virgil. Vincent, whatever. He's Vincent in WCW.
Stop messing with the timeline.
But anyway, that he's the first real heel that I remember as a kid. And he had the $1 Million Corporation and all that stuff. So that's spun out to your Bundys and your IRS and Andre for a short period of time. When mainstream WWF, I don't think there was anybody bigger than him. Bobby the Brain Heenan went active.
You took my word. I was waiting for my turn. I was like, $1 Million Man, and then you said $1 Million Man. I'm like, oh man, yeah.
I can't think of anybody that was bigger.
If there was another one that was really crazy, is I mean, if someone, I don't know if you ever seen, there's online, someone has a picture that says Roddy Piper has AIDS. So if a fan is saying, going to this crowd and saying that somebody has AIDS or something, that's some crazy heat right there, man. So I would probably say another one would be Roddy Piper. Before, you know, in the 80s, since we're talking about early 80s, he was a crazy heel. You know what I mean? And I mean, he had a lot, this guy just said, I'm sorry, I forgot your first name, sir. You talking about how you said you saw WrestleMania 1. I mean, like, you know the role that Piper had in that thing, man. You know what I mean? As a heel. So I would probably give also another one was for Piper, man. Piper was crazy. He over as a heel, you know, mega heel, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean the biggest moment for him when he smashed that pineapple over Jimmy Snuka's head.
Right, that was crazy, man.
I mean, holy crap! They had to get him out of the building. Security was surrounding him, and Piper was still fighting people because he had to get out of the building. And that's the difference. Those heels were okay being heels because they knew if they had to, they were okay with getting down and dirty. Like Terry Bam Bam Gordy, P.S. Hayes. I mean, there's stories of Gordy getting shot at in a freaking Texas bar, and he just sits there and goes, puts his beer down and gets into a fight. Like, they're legit tough guys. But I think NWA heels, though, we have to go with the Russians.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, you can if this was the heyday. I mean, it really hasn't gone away, but that was the heyday of the foreigners are heels. So, I mean, I think you kind of have to, just for the amount of heat that they generated just by existing.
Right.
Iron Sheik.
Oh yeah, Nikolai.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nikolai kind of had to work at it a little bit, but Iron Sheik beat Bob Backlund. That was like,
Right.
know, and by the way, that's not to take away the fact that he's probably the biggest baby face on Twitter right now.
Who's that? Iron Sheik?
Iron Sheik, yeah. So complete face turn when social media happened.
Right. No, but I think with Iron Sheik, they definitely, to me, that was the golden era of characters. It was characters. And that's when, because they were being larger than life. So guys like Iron Sheik, when he came out with the flag, you had to hate him. If you were a true red, white, and blue American, you hated Sheik. There was nothing ever good about him. But I just think that was the best era of character heels. But I think as we moved into the 90s, then we got personas. And you got like real life people. And obviously the biggest ones in the 90s, my personal opinion, they were so cool, but you had to hate them, was Nash Hall, the NWO, and DX. Like, for their time period, those were your top heels. Because Stone Cold's a heel, but he was never really a heel. He could come out and do anything, and the fans were going to cheer.
I don't think that the NWO or DX generated enough negative heat to really be considered the biggest heels. Like at the moment of the Hulk Hogan heel turn, yes. But that was like for like a 24-hour period, and then they went right back to being cool. They started to get booed on a regular basis because of they were overstaying their welcome, not because of the dastardly things they were doing.
Right.
And it was the same thing with DX, is that they loved to hate Shawn Michaels, and then they just freaking loved him. Triple H finally, they're like, oh wait, this guy actually matters. And the New Age Outlaws with the whole got 2 words for you, and the sermon that you would get at the beginning of that promo from Road Dogg, they were over. Right. And they were over in a good way. Like, so I think they were almost like anti-heroes or anti-heels, I guess would be
right. And I think that's part of the issue that we have with the 90s is the heels, solid heels in the 90s. It's hard to pick because that was when you were starting to see the rise of anti-hero, and it was cool to be the bad guy.
I'll say with Triple H at least, because I can actually talk about this a little bit. I think he became a better heel later. Like, I think the Authority H is probably his best heel work. Because that's what I saw, and I liked his heel work there.
But he was, after post DX, is when he became a better heel.
Yeah.
When it was him standing by himself or with Steph. But it's him as the singular wrestler. That's when he becomes a better heel.
I as much as I have to agree with you. I think the McMahon Helmsley era was for me, that was Triple H's best heel work.
Yeah. Yep.
While I do really like Authority Triple H's heel work, because he screwed over or tried at least, or did screw over Daniel Bryan. That was the biggest dick move you could have the entire. I just realized, wait a minute, hold on a second here. That was like the biggest, that was like the worst thing you could do. No, I was like, I just realized I was swearing in front of children. So the the once he screwed over Daniel Bryan, that was fine. But then there was I got off track there. Oh yeah, there was the Evolution era Triple H.
Right.
Did some pretty bad things, but I don't think it was his best heel work. The Katie Vick thing, that was like if somebody actually did that in like real life, that they would probably be considered pretty bad. And the Booker T stuff, which yeah, I don't know at the time they really knew exactly what they were doing.
I think Vince knew exactly what he was doing.
Well, because this was right around the same time Vince, dropped the N-word in front, like, to Cena.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't think that he thought it was that big, that bad. Like, part of me just thinks that Vince is so disconnected. But yeah, but that was one of those. That was cringe bad.
Yeah, but that Triple H thing with Booker T, it's fine if you're gonna go that route, but he should have lost. Like, and that would have been the payoff. You know what I mean? Like, the bad guy gets, what's that thing? His comeuppance. They come back and get him, but he won, and it was a misfire. I mean, I feel like that was just a dumb way to finish it. You know what I mean?
And that kind of leans into the fact that Triple H was getting booed by the crowd, but a lot of it wasn't for the right reason. It was the words of the backstage politicking, and the golden shovel was leaking from backstage. And when you see what happened in that feud with Booker T, it's like, oh, I know why he won. Because he's Triple H, and and he just politics.
Banging stuff.
Even if he didn't for that, the perception was there, but the optics were all wrong, and I don't know how much of it was Triple H's fault, because he's not writing all of the storylines, or I don't even know if it was his choice to wait 6 minutes before covering Booker T.
I feel like that was his choice. I'm not gonna lie.
If I'm Booker T, I kick out and make him do it again.
Yo, for real. But Booker T is a professional, so he played with, and I get that. But I see what you're saying. Like, I would have too. Like, screw that.
I was just thinking about it going back. Like, obviously we're in the '90s. We're talking about the '90s now.
Villain beard stroke.
Because it just dawned on me. It just dawned on me. Like, we talked about DiBiase, Piper, right? But I was just thinking about, man, Rude was a solid heel up until like the early '90s. Kurt Hennig was a solid heel pretty much whenever he wanted to be. Because I mean, like, obviously Big Shez and I are probably going to be the two that are going to be like, this was the worst thing ever. But remember when they had the West Texas Rednecks? Do you remember that? Okay. First off,
rap is crap, man. Rap is crap.
It was Kendall Windham, Kurt, Barry, and I forget who the other one was. It was the other Windham, I think. Kendall. I think so. It was I can't remember, but whatever. And they were an anti-hip hop, and it was when the No Limit Soldiers and all that. Oh man, it was so bad. But you know what? When they came out and they played in major cities like Baltimore, I remember when they played in Baltimore and they came out and they were like, "For your listening pleasure," and they start singing "Rap is Crap," and the whole freaking crowd, they were ready to riot. They wanted to kill Kurt Hennig, and he just smiled the whole time.
See, if you're gonna do I guess what we would, nowadays look back at as problematic, and that's being generous in some of these cases, but it's the best word I can come up with. But if you're gonna do one of those heel characters or heel turns or factions or whatever,
right?
Like, they kind of like going back to the Triple H thing, where if you're going to have these kind of subtle, if you're going to call Triple H, or if you're going to call Booker T boy, or you people, you either have to don't do it or fully commit to it. And
Right.
I don't mean just like him standing in the ring, you know, dropping racial slurs. I mean, just, you know, if you're going to do it subtly, you have to make it strong. Like this, so you have to like almost not subtle at all, but still subtle. You know, because it's a fine line to dance with a character like that.
Right.
A good example of just that, not necessarily along those same lines, but of like finally committing to the character. If I Inside the Ropes posted an interview with Dustin Rhodes where he was talking about the genesis of Gold Dust, and with it was D'Lo Brown that told him, like, no, you need to do this and you need to do this, and I want you to grab me here. And he's like, I can't do that. These people kill me. It's like, yeah. And him actually finally committing to it, and it finally got the response that he wanted. That's what you have to do with a heel character, and do it. And unfortunately, having like a racially charged heel character in the mid 2000s is kind of a bad idea anyways.
Yes.
But if you're going to go that route, you got to commit to it. You got to make it subtle but not subtle, you know. And that was the problem with that Booker T feud, is that they danced around it. Don't make me get the cat that I like.
And for me, if good or bad, whatever it is, at the end of the day, you want to have like a good ending of a story, essentially, right? You want the hero to prevail, and that only left me very frustrated about it because it just ended stupidly, and that's not how it should have been. At the end of the day, like, I'm not the biggest Booker T fan in the world, but it's just like, at the end of the day, like, the way that was presented, he should have came up like the way right now we were talking earlier about MJF and World War or something. You know, eventually World War's gonna get his revenge on MJF, right? Like, he has to, right? So I feel like that's how it should have ended up. That's why I get a little annoyed with that Triple H one, because I'm like, come on, man, you guys went that route and didn't even finish it the way you naturally should have ended it. But whatever.
That's always been the WWE way. The boys that got the shovel get to use their shovel when they want it.
Right. But I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this much of another heel as we move on to like the newer age and stuff that I was a huge fan of was JBL. When he turned, you know, into that whole, you know, the rich guy, whatever. He was a great heel, man. Like, he was a jerk. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was a great heel, man. He was a great heel.
And he's still the only one that almost got Undertaker to break character on camera.
That's true. I absolutely hated JBL, and that was the whole point. And he did that so well. Because I was a kid, like, you know, that's right around when I started getting into it. I could not stand that dude. And that was the whole point.
Yeah.
It reminds me kind of, like, this is jumping, but it reminds me a lot of like what Miz does now and did when he was coming up. Was, I can't stand that dude, but that's the whole point.
Right.
And JBL did that perfectly.
The thing with JBL is that he obviously, I mean, they booked him to be a big badass for so long, right? So you already knew he was tough.
Oh, yeah.
But when he brought real life into it, that's when he really became like, that's when we all started. I hated him. But you know what? As much as it bothers me to say it, I was a big fan of the Basham brothers when they were with him, when they were part of the cabinet.
I was like, wait, what? This is in general?
No. Like, when they were a part of the cabinet, I thought that they were like, I thought it was fun.
Favorite tag teams, the Headbangers.
Dude, forget this NWO stuff. What about the BWO?
They were not heels. They were the most over faction in ECW for
what, JBL.
Oh, we lost our fourth.
Crap.
Yeah, he had to just text me. He had to get the kids to bed.
Okay.
But I mean,
shit, I can say it now.
Yeah. Now, we can cuss again.
But like,
that's cool.
I think when we go like generational, like, there are some guys that just do it well. I mean, that JBL with the heel character, and first off, he got nuclear heat because of the whole Blue Meanie thing too. Like, you literally punched Blue Meanie out of everybody why would you punch him?
I mean, it's in his name has meaning in it. He's obviously not nice.
I would have accepted him punching Amish roadkill in the face before I would ever accept him punching. Yes, he's a real character. Danny Doring, Amish roadkill. Go look it up. I would have taken that first.
You know who,
Junior, for you, just so you understand, Amish roadkill. His nickname was the angry Amish chicken plucker, and he would come out and he'd go like this, and it was so bad, but it was so good, so good.
All right, I can't believe I need to follow that. But I think, and I'm pretty sure, no matter who we had on the panel, this is going to be universally agreed with. The best heel work done by somebody who's never done it prior. How good was Kurt Angle when he showed up?
Yeah.
Like when he first got there, like, you know, for a dude who's never, you know, really was never in that position in front of people like that, who had didn't even necessarily want to do pro wrestling.
Right.
Just walked out with that character and nailed it. I mean, yeah, it was green and it was rough a little early on, but he got the reaction he wanted right from the get-go.
But what made it so good was the fact that as Americans, when we saw him, we saw the guy that won a gold medal in Atlanta with a broken freaking neck. Like, that's what we remember. So he was an American hero. But he comes out and wait a minute. No, like we're supposed to rally behind you because you are us. And I think you're absolutely right. For somebody who never had that line of work, that background, didn't have extensive training prior to, I mean, he obviously had training, but he didn't have crazy amounts of years on the road and territories and all that, indies and all that. Kurt Angle, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's the greatest heel ever.
No, but he definitely, for that time frame and with the character he came out with, yes, he's definitely one of the top heels of that era. What about John Cena when he first came out with the rapping one?
It was
he's kind of like, it kind of reminds me, and these two are going to be linked forever in all sorts of contexts, even, you know, when you don't think so. But it's kind of like Dwayne when he first escaped the
Rocky, yeah.
Well, the Rocky Maivia thing, but when he kind of escaped the because I'm not going to say the Nation of Domination were holding him back because it's a mid-card act and he was about to become, you know, a top guy. So I'm not saying that those guys were holding him back, but I'm just saying, like, you know, it was he once he broke away from that plot line and he was free to, you know, go on.
Right.
You booed him because he was feuding against Stone Cold. He sided with Vince. And, you know, he would occasionally hit, you know, Mick Foley 17 or 18 times with a chair in front of his kids. You know, he would do those kind of things, but he was like kind of similar to Jericho, where no matter what he did, it was so damn entertaining that you booed him because of what he was doing. But at the same time, like, right, like just underneath the surface of that, you were like, this dude's freaking great. You know, right. So you didn't have that, like the honky tonk man as a heel, you just hated him because he was annoying.
Right.
You know, so he was like a truer heel. Whereas, like, he had an over-the-top gimmick that you just, it was just like, oh, God, will someone please beat him for the belt? I don't care who it is. Get the dude with the ribbons and the makeup and the weird promos. Have him beat him in 20 seconds.
I will say this. I still think one of the biggest heel moments for me with Rock is the I Quit match versus Mankind.
Oh, with the piped in.
I quit. Dude, I remember watching that live, and I wanted to throw everything I had. I was like, what? No, he can't lose it. No, he can't lose this way. But it was, you know, there's a lot of good heels. And you know, even if we try to go through, I mean, we would need 2 hours to go through, honestly, some of the best heels. Because listen, we all know I'm a CM Punk mark. All right. Straight Edge Society. That was one of the top heel factions of that time frame. And what he was coming out and saying was, oh my God, you can't say this stuff. Like, wait a minute. You're supposed to be the voice of the voiceless. Now you're telling me I'm scum because I'm not straight edge. You're telling me I'm this. Like, and he was going after Rey's mask, which is like the biggest no-no in all of wrestling. You can take anybody else's mask. Just don't take Rey Mysterio's.
Even though if you've been watching wrestling long enough, you've seen him without it anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had double horns at one point in time, just in case anybody doesn't remember that.
Yes. Yeah, because apparently he was a big Prodigy fan.
Right, yeah. But, I mean, I think right now we're seeing great heel work from a lot of younger talent, and I think it gives us a bright future for the future of wrestling as a whole. MJF, top heel. Theory's going to be a great heel. He's already got the cocky, arrogant, but he's got a bright future in the heel biz. Roman's doing probably the best work he's ever done as a heel. There's a lot of promising, and Jericho is consummate when you say heel, good heel work. Jericho is one of the greatest heels in the business right now, and he's riding a great wave. I think the future of heels is bright, and I'm actually looking forward to how well it's going to transition going forward.
I've only ever watched one episode of the show too. Sorry.
Oh man,
it's worth it.
And I love Stephen Amell.
I think so. One of my things is I don't know if you guys mentioned it because I like walked away from it, but I think Seth's a very underrated heel.
Yes.
Seth undermines himself because his voice and his laugh are so over the top and annoying that he alternates between, well, not lately, but for a while he was alternating between, yeah, you're a good heel and getting X-Pac heat. You know, like there was a little stretch there, but like especially I think because his feud with Roman, as brief as it was, that was a weird two heels dynamic that they made work. And even when he came out with the Shield gear, that's a heel move.
Oh yeah.
You know? So yeah, no, I like him better as a heel than a face, although he's way less annoying as a face than a heel. But I guess that's the point.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Bailey then. I mean, Bailey's laugh gets on the nerves of everybody.
You know, we've really ignored the we'll save that for a separate topic.
Yeah.
We'll just do, because we can, there's layers upon layers, and we've completely ignored the women in this entire thing. And you know, not so much of a kind of a spoiler, but Steph deserves a place near the top of that list.
Oh yeah, we could do that one next, honestly.
Yeah, we have this kind of carry over into next week. Yeah, because we're just about out of time anyways. So that was a little rambling because it didn't end up going the way I anticipated it, because I was trying when I thought about it in my mind, I was trying to keep it more formatted, and then we just started firing out names of heels. And I kind of like that. We should be way less organized in the future.
Yeah, it was smooth. I liked it.
Yeah. So okay. Uga.
Skull punting Orton is my favorite heel of all time. I'm not gonna lie.
You know, yeah. By the way, to answer the question, I still think Flair's the greatest heel of all time, just because he had the thing of he was good, and that's what made him almost unbeatable. Like, you couldn't beat him, and he was an ass.
Yeah, right.
You know. So, but again, it's different eras too.
Yeah, I can't really, all the heels I watched and I like saw form, I can't say are the greatest heel of all time because that's too soon.
Tommaso Ciampa.
Like I was gonna say, like Miz is a really good heel,
No,
but like I can't be like,
no. He wins for what he did to Johnny at the end of that takeover.
Grayson Waller. What do you mean?
Yeah. All right. So I'd like to thank HouseShow, Christian, for joining us, and sorry he had to go so abruptly, but we'll get him in. Yeah, he was just like poof. I was like, what did you do, David Blaine? What did you do with him? And then the guys that were missing this week, I'm sure going to kick themselves a little bit because they're going to be watching and be like, oh, I know. But we're also going to try to get Scooby and May. I don't know about little Rhea.
Oh, she could.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure if she would. So.
No, she's been talking about the whole dang time. She's like, oh, I'll outschool all of them. So yeah, let's.
Oh, okay. Well then, cool. She wants to talk trash. So, all right. I'm a big pop. All right.